Hey fam, happy Halloween season. It's Unseen back again to reminisce about a simpler time in our lives. Like when folks could travel freely from state to state, go on vacation, enjoy staying in somebody else's house where you don't have to wash the dishes or take out the garbage. Remember when kids rolling into a bodega with a mask on in October simply meant that they were trick-or-treating? Ah, yesteryear. Alas, this brings me to today's selection. The Rental. Next, on What You've Missed. Oh, and before I give you the keys to the place, I'm going to point out a couple of things that I'd like to discuss at the end, so stay tuned. The Rental is about an adorable couple, Charlie and Mina, looking for a weekend getaway, and they find a lovely Airbnb overlooking the coast. They drive out, they meet a charming, if not eccentric landlord, share some wine, a hot tub, and some adult time. They drink a little too much and regret it the following morning. End scene. So yep, it was just about renting a sweet house on the coast and overindulging so much that it was scary. So thanks so much for joining End Scene. Nah, I'm just messing with you. How obnoxious would that be? Alright, for real. Let's go back. Mina and Charlie are actually business partners, and Mina is Charlie's brother's girlfriend. But hey, I guess some families are just really close, right?
What's up, bro?
To dispel any concerns that something might be going on between the two, Charlie gushes about how perfect Mina is and how his brother Josh doesn't really deserve her because he's a douchey frat boy. Charlie's wife, Michelle, seems just as enamored with Mina, but tries to stick up for her brother-in-law. The couples ride up to the house and discuss Mina's failed attempt to rent the cabin herself. Josh surmises that because Mina's last name speaks to her Middle Eastern descent, that the renter is probably a racist. Charlie tries to defuse the issue with the old, not everybody's a racist bastard line, but it becomes a reoccurring theme that I want to chat about a little more at the end. They arrive at the cabin, they do a little poking around, and are met by Toby, the caretaker, who explains that the place is owned by his brother, but that he lives down the road and he's the resident handyman. After some introductions as to who everyone is, and to punch home the suspicions of prejudice, Toby asks Mina,
"How'd you get mixed up with this family?"
But again, we'll get back to that. Toby shows them the digs, there's the requisite oohs and ahs from the crowd, then Mina confronts Toby about the booking. Toby tells Mina that if she don't like it, she could kick rocks. Then Mean mugs at the house and kicks up some dust as he speeds off down the road. To cheer Mina up, the brothers speak in some sort of frat boy pig.
Crack a brewski or twoski? Gaze up at Bro Ryan's belt? Sip a little Pinot Grigio? Pop in a bromantic comedy?
Broseph Gordon-Levitt all day, all night.
Smoke a J, take a long walk.
I apologize. I never pledged and couldn't find subtitles for you, so please tell me in the comments section if there's any skull and bones messages I might be missing here. Josh is playing catch with the dog and starts poking around under the house when he stumbles across a door with a fancy lock. Ooh, creepy, right? Well, we'll get back to that door in a bit. The group takes a stroll on the beach, coupled up, business partners and plus ones, naturally. And Josh discusses how he's not good enough for Mina. Like an awesome sister-in-law, and I know I've got a few of them, Michelle tussles his hair and tells him he's adorable and that he has a good heart, which is code for you're ugly, so you better hold on to her for dear life because she's the best damn thing that you've ever had. Since no good deed goes unpunished, Josh, in return, plants a seed of doubt into the strength of their marriage. While they were out, Toby drops off a telescope and Mina points out how creepy he is. But they're there to have a good time, so they tell some stories, they sip some wine, and, they pop some Molly.
What?
The saddest MDMA-fueled dance party ensues. Wait, I've seen this before.
I guarantee you fright. You're tight. On the verge of knocking you I'm out for no reason. Once I get down, I'll be no breathing.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, there's a little brotherly wrestling, a look on the porch that lingers a little too long between business partners, and eventually a shared hot tub. Nothing inappropriate ever happens in a hot tub, right?
Can I tell you something?
Mina and Charlie discuss how proud of one another they are, how much they respect each other, they care for each other, and that their partnership is the most important. Well then. A dog bark breaks up their embrace, and in the distance, we get the first hint that our couples are being watched by a mouth breather.
Good night, Charlie.
In a moment of clarity, Mina lets the shower run over her and considers the gravity of her actions. Charlie, on the other hand, could care less that his wife is in the other room and joins Mina in the shower. The next morning, our secret lovers look and feel like guilty sacks of dumpster juice and flake on Michelle's 2-hour trip to a waterfall. The two swear off bumping uglies again, while Josh mentions that Big Bro has a history of swinging from one vine to another. Michelle, who admittedly dated Charlie while he was already involved with another woman, gets bent out of shape to find out that Charlie did the same thing to the previous girlfriend. As Michelle pouts, we learn that the mouth breather got up early and took the drive out to the hike as well. Think he was pissed that he had to get up super early with them? Maybe listening to a podcast on his drive, bumping the latest Kanye album? I don't know. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Mina scrubs her pits and notices something strange about the shower head. She calls Charlie in and they make a frantic dash to the rendezvous spot. A camera there too. They figure Toby is both a racist and a perv. Charlie, always the pragmatist, comes up with a
I think we pretend like it didn't happen.
plan. Mina wanted all the smoke, but figures that she'll let Toby slide with a new entry for his spank bank and get the hell out of Dodge. A commotion will only lead to questions from Josh and Michelle. The hike team comes back and Michelle confronts Charlie about his ex-girlfriend from 10 years ago. Spoiler alert, this is a useless bit of unnecessary tension that lasts all of 2 seconds and is never mentioned again. Charlie reacts like most brothers would, and it is never discussed again. Since Michelle missed last night's dance party, she pops a molly herself and calls Toby over to fix the hot tub. To ensure that the "this dude is a racist" narrative still has a pulse, Toby comes in and asks,
Is that white girl here?
Hey, where are the white women at?
Mina then lures Toby into the bathroom to confront him about the camera and being a perv. Toby earnestly denies knowing anything about the shower heads, and then he and Mina get into a scuffle as he tries to call the cops. Josh swoops in and throws Toby a good old-fashioned beating. Charlie and Michelle hear the commotion and they pull Josh away while Toby slumps in the bathtub. We now learn that though Toby is a creep, he's not the creeper. The gloved assailant then slips in and makes Toby's tub nap permanent. The crew goes back in and checks on Toby, finds him dead, and thinks Josh killed him. As good, righteous human beings, they sit down, they call the cops, and they deal with the consequences of this whole sordid affair. Or,
Like, who's to say he didn't just drunkenly stumble over the cliff?
the movie then turns into I Know What You Did Last Summer. Michelle, wanting nothing to do with this shitty plan, waits in the house while the Higgins boys and Gruber chuck the body over the cliff. They figure folks will think that Toby was drunk and fell off the edge. Though he lives in the neighborhood and there's a banister by the edge and it won't explain any of his injuries, or the asphyxiation, or the big-ass rock contusion on his forehead. But what do I know? I've never gotten rid of a body that you know of. Michelle hears a shower start. She looks in damn near every room for where the sound is coming from. So let me ask, what kind of surround sound setup do they have in this house that would lead her in every damn direction? I mean, there's but so many bathrooms, right? Alas, she finds the source and it's a video of Mina showering and Charlie joining her. As the Manson family returns to the cabin, under cover of fog, our mouth breather emerges behind them, just strolling up like he was hanging out with them all along. Distraught, Michelle grabs the car keys and plans to leave the rest of their sorry asses right there. She tells Charlie that she saw the footage and peels off into the darkness. With the clairvoyance that only bad guys in horror movies have, Michelle runs over the spike strip and smashes into a tree. She has a meltdown, calms down to send Charlie a message, and then meets the creeper. I don't know about you, but spike strips mean deliberate flat tire to me. That should mean frantic phone call and head on a swivel. Charlie gets an SOS from Michelle and tracks a car down. Not in the car, he stumbles across her lifeless body, but doesn't hear our mouth breather rolling up on him and catches the business end of a hammer. Two down, two to go. Since everyone knows about the cameras now, Mina and Josh break into the creepy door under the house to rummage through the cellar to find, well, nothing. I mean, Josh finds some Polaroids that seem sketchy, but he refuses to show Mina or us, making the find and the trip into the crawl space worthless and a red herring. Mina then disappears back into the house, while Josh receives a voice message of Charlie and Mina planning to hide their tryst. When asked what they were talking about, Mina eloquently responds,
What?
Josh then gets pictures and video of Mina and Charlie in the shower, setting Josh off to stalk around the house looking for Charlie in each room, under the bed, and in all the closets. What are they, 12? Who the hell is looking in the closets for their grown brother, unless it is merely to move the plot along? Oh, Josh, you picked door number 3.
Got him!
1 would have been a new car. 2, a trip to Tahiti. Instead, you got the hammer claw. Good luck next time. Mina, witnessing the quick dispatch of her tough guy boyfriend, makes a relatively casual attempt to get away. Impressively, she inflicts the most damage on our assailant and then tries to Danny Torrance her way into the fog, and like magic, she's gone. Well, gone off the edge of the cliff. We finally get a look at our mouth breather as he peers over the cliff edge, admiring the surf, and then stalks away into the dusk like Sasquatch. The killer returns to the cabin and dismantles all of his surveillance equipment. A shower head here, a listening device there, and the removal of a realistic mask to show a much younger man. We are then with our assailant while he is seemingly renting another space, installing his equipment, then watching various occupants enjoy their stay until he selects another victim. So before we wrap this up, I want to go back to a couple of things. First off, was Toby racist? I don't know. Maybe. He was weird and douchey to Mina,
How'd you get
didn't
mixed
rent her the house, asked her how she got mixed up with this family, and then asked if the white girl was here when coming to fix the hot tub. But hey, he could have disliked Mina because of those harsh-ass bangs. Nonetheless, it was a useless plot point and felt shoehorned in to create unnecessary tension. They could have just made him a perv or a peeping Tom and it would have fit better into the narrative. And let me ask you this. How do the landlords not find the killer's equipment? You're telling me that no one ever does a walkthrough of the space after somebody left and found weird shower heads or stumbled across a listening device or the cameras? And if not, ew. And even if they didn't, no one has found a pattern that this dude rents a space and then shortly thereafter, the next renters die a brutal, violent, horrible death? And lastly, the roll-up and the spike strips. The killer lucks out that Michelle leaves by herself. He bashes her in the head, followed by Charlie coming alone and catches a bop on the head as well. But what if they all left together? Was the killer planning on going after all 4 of them at the same time with a hammer? And with that said, in the fog, was he about to roll up on all 3 of them with just a hammer and a mask on? And how good can your peripheral vision be with a mask like that? And how sweaty must that thing get? Well, at least he was wearing a mask. What do you folks think? Are there things I missed? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. And hey, while you're doing that, if you dig this content, especially since I really enjoy making it for you, dropping a like and subscribing to the channel would be pretty awesome and help me get some traction. If there are any movies that you'd be interested in seeing me dig through, let me know. Otherwise, I will do my best to drop something new, interesting, or at the very least, we air it every Monday or Tuesday. So hit that notification bell, and I will see you next time for What You've Missed.